Hello there, Servum17 once again. This is Trials of the Vanquisher Seal, Dark Souls 2 PvP production. This is hard work, this guys, it really is. The Vanquisher Seal is an item of this game I particularly love. I think it's a really nice idea. I love the moveset that it affords you when you use it, but be under no illusion, it's very difficult to use. It's tough to use just by itself. It's even harder to use when you're coming up against bad connections, and it's even harder to use on a bad connection up against somebody who's using a strong setup. But that's the fun, because there's a lot of ways to play this game, and a lot of them are very easy. This is not one of them. So to balance it out, I've got the Monastery Scimitar on my offhand, and I've got the Giant Club on my right hand. And I'm not really going to use it too much, I'm just going to mix it up a little bit to give the enemy something to be afraid of. And the Monastery Scimitar is mostly for an alternative running attack and for the parries, because this was back when it worked, before they patched it. So you're going to see a couple of parries from this weapon, and I appreciate in advance that people didn't like it, some people really hate it, but if you can try and be a little bit more positive in the comments regarding it if you have to talk, because everybody knows that there are a handful of people that don't like it and there are some that do, and this series is not about parrying, but it does occur every so often. One thing you will not see is the parry backstep, because I refuse to do it. And this is a person who's using a very similar setup to me, and I managed to get a quick backstab off them there. I also have some hexes, because whenever I come to the arena I always put my hexes on, because you never know who you're going to fight, and chances are it's going to be somebody who wants you dead quicker than you want them dead, because that's just how the game works. But this is an interesting fight. This guy wants to parry a little bit too much though, so I punish him with a backstab. Here we go. This is tough, because something you should know, the equipment I'm wearing is for style only. You might be saying, you know, why? Well, it's the same outfit that I wore in some of those fancy videos I did when I fought certain bosses, and it's not fully upgraded. Which doesn't really matter, because even if it was fully upgraded, certain things would still destroy it. But I used to think it looked cool, so I liked running around wearing it. And it's not the best armour, as you can tell, so you have to be aware that you're quite squishy when you use it, but you do look cool, and I think that's more important. But here we have the first of our resonant katanas. We'll see a few of these, it's just the way the game works. I knew the parry was coming. There was the swap to the Giant Club, there is the obligatory pancake, and then we move on to your standard arena player, who's got an upgraded aura as well, as you can see. I'm at aura level 2, he's at aura level 3. And you might be wondering, well, how? Well, look at it. This is what aura level 3 represents. People who play like that. Is it good or bad? I'll leave you to decide. Oh, this is cool. This is a guy... I think he's a subscriber. If he's not a subscriber, he's just somebody who's looking for a fun fight. And there's not enough people like this guy, so I'm eternally grateful to him. And I pancake him with my giant weapon. And it's a little bit misleading, that clip, because I haven't put the one that exists before it, which I'm hoping is going to show up in the rest of this video, or it might do in the next one, I can't remember, because he beat me the first time we fought. He landed a really awesome parry. So I'm hoping you get to see that, and if you don't, I'll try and add it to the end of this video, because I don't know where it's gone. A lot of this footage has been jumbled, so I'm hoping it just appears later, because if it doesn't, I'll put it up as its own separate video, because it was a fantastic parry, and, you know, it was somebody who just didn't want me dead out of all the people we were fighting. You know, we had a really good series of fights, I had a lot of fun. And I wish I'd not kept swapping to the club to finish that guy quicker, because I would rather fight him all night than some of the people that you get on this game. Like this guy, I like this person. He's using a slow weapon, he's got his offhand pyromancies on, and he's doing interesting moves. You know, you can't ask for anything more than that, and that's when this game really shines. That right there, be careful of the R1 or R2 when they two-hand, because a lot of people will do it where they put it into the ground with the intentions of catching you with the R2. However, you never know whether or not they've got enough poise to do it, or if you can interrupt them, because the poise on this game, you know, makes as much sense as North Korea. But this is one of those fights where when you start winning, the person pulls out his, you know, his tactics to try and change the result. And this dude just so happens to have an Evelyn, which you see this a lot. You know, the offhand Evelyn, just for this moment. But luckily enough for me, is I fought Evelyns a lot without a shield, and when anybody just tries to space you with an Evelyn, they have to roll. So if you wait for their end of the roll and you attack, there's nothing they can do. And you'll notice I don't really taunt much on this game, but if you pull a fucking Evelyn out, I'm going to give you the douchiest taunts I can, because you just deserve it at that point. This was me trying to get some footage in the Belfry. I love this place, but I don't get nowhere near the amount of traffic I used to get in the forest, which is bizarre because the forest is a couple of years old and this is a new game. But that might be my internet, that might be their internet, that might just be Dark Souls 2, that might be soul memory, I have no idea. But I didn't leave the rest of that video in, I just wanted to show you that asshole. Because as soon as I landed a parry on him when he was using his fucking Santia buffed spear, he ran away with an Evelyn, and I chased him around, and I eventually got invaded by somebody else, and it turned into a bit of a gank squad. But that's the kind of players that you attract, and those are the type of people that disgust me. And it's all for personal reasons. You know, a lot of people like to say, you know, you shouldn't tell people how to play, which is true. A lot of people like to say everybody can play how they want, which is true. But it's not to mean that I'm not going to call them a douchebag for doing it, because that's the right and that's half the theatre of these videos. You know, if I didn't say silly things, they wouldn't be as interesting to watch. But dual rapiers hurt, and the problem with them is if the first hit lands, the rest are following. And there's not much you can do, but luckily enough, due to lag just then, I ended up catching him on his roll, and that did insane damage, because it's a powerful spell. Oh, this poor dude. So, me and this guy have got close-quartered weapons. His strategy involves spamming that, which, you know, whatever. Mine involves either parrying him, or landing him in a bit of an L1R1 stun lock, or just, you know, rolling about and being fancy. But you need to be aware that these weapons have bleed and poison on them, so he's going for the, not necessarily the damage, but the status effect victory. And neither of us have got any range, except for me with spells, but my intention is not to use them. So I pull this out to try and lure him in, because the swings of the big weapons leave you seemingly open, but you can recover at the end of the animation and do something like a parry, which is exactly what I did just then. And I've got the Holy Waters for range, which if you've never thrown Holy Water, it's actually really good. I didn't realise just how good it was until I started using it in this session. But a lot of people who have the sidearm of the Monastery Scimitar, they don't use it, they just use it to parry. And I think that's a mistake, because the running attack with the Scimitar is really strange. And if you didn't know when you're dual wielding, if you run and press L1 instead of R1, you will do a running attack with your L1 weapon. And it gives me the illusion of diversity, because people expect the fist and they get something different. Like that. But this is... If anybody played Dark Souls 1, there was a strategy that involved being a dick with the dragon bow, and it was really frustrating to fight, but actually effective. In this game, thanks to lag and tracking, it doesn't work as well. But people are still trying to do it, and people on shitty connections, myself included. So, me and this guy have a horrible connection to each other, and he's got a troll build. He's got a troll build with a very big Black Knight sword, and I'm taking damage a mile away, and he's teleporting and rotating, and at this point you're just like, this is bullshit, let it end. And this guy wants to run away. So, as soon as he starts losing, he fucks off. And it's just that thing of, dude, you've come into the world to troll with a dragon bow thing. Oh no, he doesn't. Sorry, this is a different fight. So he gets me with a Science Halberd, and he does his obligatory taunt, because he's one of those type of players. But I think he invaded a few other times, and he'd just run away from me. He'd just run away, and he was enjoying wasting my time. So the third time he invaded me, I joined a party, and it fucked him off. And I didn't feel a single bit bad whatsoever, because people like that can burn for all I care. I just hate anybody who wastes my time when I play PvP. And it's ironic and it's hypocritical, because if I were to make a series where I was trolling people, I would probably find it really hilarious and see nothing wrong with it. But when it's being done to you, it's a little bit different, you know. This is just a person trying to do, I think, a backstep parry, or he's just trying to parry with an offhand Milu Scimitar, but he's pretty high up in the blue sentinels, which is interesting to see. Throws a couple of flame sways out. I thought he was going to go for a parry then, so I tried to punish it. But look how slow the punch is, so you'll notice I stun lock him, which, it's dirty, but that guy was kicking my ass, so I know. This dude I love. Anybody carrying this weapon is a champion. It takes balls of steel to use, and don't underestimate it because it does insane damage. Like, people think just because it's slow it's not very good. If you land that weapon, sick damage. And it's got some cool moves as well. But lead him into the stun lock, try and do a combo, try and do a jump attack, but it comes out as an R2. Because whenever you're stun locking somebody, they're going to roll away. So if you do the 2 hits, and on the 3rd hit do a jump attack, chances are you can land it when they roll after. But there is the parry, and then I pancake him with the big stick. And that's the end of the 1st edition. So thank you very much for watching, and as always, you take care now.